here. Okay, so we will start. I want to start QualiMagic. And step by step, I want to present all spec module. We have 4 because it's one for the planar mode of the spec camera. The second one is for tomographic mode. And the last one is for body, whole body mode. Excuse me, not 4, but 3 different modules. Most of the time now you have also a module for the CT scanner, but it's not. We don't want to speak about that today. I want to focus only on a spec module. So as you know, you can import some data from this button. Import after you have different methods, but me, I can use only the first one from a folder on my computer. Sometime you can use the second one. It's directly you import the data directly from the web network, and the 2 last one is only for radiation therapy. So me, I have all my data.
I'm sorry. I'm not seeing your.
Your screen. Me too.
Excuse me.
You had, I think, allow us. Yes.
So I start again.
Yes.
Now
okay.
you can see?
Yes.
Okay.
Now yes.
So I have 4 options to import. The 2 last one is for radiation therapy. The first one is for all. You can push directly on the network some DICOM images. In this case, you can use the second option. Or you can import from a folder, Windows folder. In my case, I can use only this method. So I select, I have my examination here. I have my 3 different modules. We can start with planar mode, and I can import all the images. They are in a folder, and I want to import all images by this method. So I want first to import all my examples. The second one is for the tomographic mode. So I want to import the second examination. And the last one for the whole body mode. So we have 3 different modules because 6 years ago, some customers, they don't need, some customers, they use only planar mode, so they don't want to pay for all modules. So we share the solution in 3 parts. So, and the last one, the whole body mode. And now we have the 3 examples used for my demo. So we can start with the planar mode. And as you know, you can start the analysis directly from the welcome screen here. In a routine mode, you use this method. You don't need to go in step-by-step mode. And you have your report on the screen. So you have 2 reports. The long one with all tested parameters, and this one with only out of tolerance parameters. Okay. So me, I prefer to show you in detail. So I want to return and I want to go in step-by-step mode to see in detail the analysis. So you have all your images here. So we test uniformity of the camera in intersect mode, so without collimator and with collimator. We test the spatial resolution without and with collimator. And we test also the accuracy of the spatial accuracy when you use a source with different energy. In this case, they use a gallium source. It's very expensive source, radioactive source. But they have 3 different energy. energies, but you can use also gallium, indium with only 2 energies, and it's less expensive. So it's also a possibility. You are not obliged to test 3 different energies. So we can start with first this test. And what we do in this test, we detect the point source, and we have the coordinate of the point source, and we compare this coordinate between the different energies. It's only to see if when you change energy, the source, the energy of the source, to be sure that the spatial accuracy of your camera is the same. So we control the gap in between the 2 energies. So do you have a question about this test? It's not very complicated. We detect the 5 sources.
Just a quick question. It's necessary to have 2 energies because we have really maximum part with only technetium.
As I can, you need at least, if you want to do this test, you are not obliged to do this test. It's very important. If you use only technetium with your camera, of course, this test is not necessary. But if you want to do this test, you need at least 2 energies because you want to compare the location of the source between the 2 energies. And what is very important, if you want to really to really test the camera and not to test the alignment of the source, it's very important to have on this point a source with the 2 energy. Of course, it's impossible to imagine you do a first acquisition with 1 radioactive source. You remove the plate, you install a second one. No, it's not like that. You need a radioactive source with 2 energy peak. So minimum, I think you need to use a indium source, and you have the 2 energy with an indium source. Do you use indium in your department?
Not every day, just some days.
Yes, but it's enough.
I will need to plan the control.
So it's enough when you have a patient with indium. You can do only this test to control the accuracy of the camera when you have this source, because it's not a traditional source. And of course, you are not obliged to do that every month. You can do that when you have the source. Okay?
Thank you.
I have one more question. Any requirement on the geometry, means the active part of the source for this test?
Our customers, they have a acrylic plate, and in this acrylic plate, they do some holes, okay? And after they only put, comment on dit une goutte, Margit? A drop of the source in the 5 location.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the diameter of the hole, is it something important for the test?
No. It's, as you can see, the sources are not really aligned. You see here, there are another location than here. So the most important is in between the 2 images or 3 images, it's the same locations. But the location is not very important. As you can see, we detect in the blue square, we detect where is the source. So you have the possibility to move the source. But the most important is in between the 2 images, you never change the plate and the location of the source. Okay?
Sure. And I think you measure the center of activity of the point source. So if even if diameter of the activity is
No,
larger.
no,
Millimeter, it
we
is not a
don't
problem.
measure the diameter. We compare only, it's a Gaussian profile, and we are in the middle of this profile, and we compare in between the different. And here you have the on the right of each image, you have the detection. So as you can see, we use a magnification factor to increase the precision. Okay, and you can see again here and here. So 3 times we detect the 5 sources. Okay.
Okay.
So now we can look the spatial resolution test. So first, without collimator. So we use this pattern, very traditional pattern with 4 frequencies. And before to do the test, because you are not sure that the pattern is really aligned on the camera, we detect where is the pattern in the image. So the first test, it was the registration of the mask for measurement in the image. And after you can start the test. So you can start the spatial resolution. So what we do here, we measure in the in this area, we measure the standard deviation of the signal. If you can separate the black and the white line, you have a higher standard deviation than this here, where it's impossible to separate. So in this case, you can use the Drudge and Morin method. These 2 medical physicists propose a solution to have the MTF of the system with a bar pattern phantom. So it's a very old method, but the problem here, you have only 4 frequencies, and the rest of the curve, it's only an interpolation. Okay, so and after you can measure the MTF of the system. Here, the 50%, 10%, 5%, and 2%. But what we do also, we measure the profile. Here, you see, here. What is this profile? Is the profile of the 2 orthogonal line in the phantom. Okay. And after we can measure the full width half maximum of this Gaussian profile. It's another method. Traditionally, this method is a visual method. You look when you can separate the black and the white line, and you have the frequency with your pattern, and you can declare which frequency you can see. So we, of course, with the software, you can quantify that. We have 2 methods, the Drudge and Morin method, and the second one is to measure the full width half maximum of the Gaussian profile. Do you have a question about this? So they test 3 times because on the camera they have 3 heads. Okay, so Kalimagic, of course, can test all heads of your camera and not only one. Okay, you have to identify your head in some special DICOM tag, and we read this DICOM tag. And if you look, the identification of the head, of course, here it's not written head, it's written tête. Tête is head in French, but because it's a DICOM tag, so the customer write tête inside. But we have the number of this head, the head 1, the head 2, and the head 3. So 3 times the same result because they want to test the 3 heads of the camera. It's okay for this test?
For me, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay for me.
So we continue with test intrinsec test without collimator. So uniformity. So here you have also 3 times the test because they want to test the 3 heads of the camera. And you have also in the mode the identification of the head. So they test head 1, 2, and 3. So 3 times the test. And we measure, in fact, the uniformity of the signal with all NEMA criteria, the differential non-uniformity in the special field of view. So you define this field of view in the settings here, full settings. You can define your field of view where you want to measure this non-uniformity, NU. And we measure also the integral non-uniformity of the system. So differential uniformity in the vertical direction and horizontal direction, the global measurement, and the integral measurement of the non-uniformity of the system. So if you, we can look a little bit the settings, because here it's important. In the NEMA, they propose before to do the measurement to blur the image, to reduce the noise. And here you have the kernel to blur the image. Okay, so normally you have to use this kernel 3 by 3. If you want to use another kernel, or if you don't want to use a kernel to smooth the image, you can unselect this possibility. But most of the time, you use this possibility because in NEMA, they want to smooth the image before to do the uniformity test. And here you have the definition of the field of view where you want to measure the uniformity. And if you have a camera where I have the example, I think, in the body mode, if you have a camera where the field of view is not rectangular, but in the edge of the rectangle, they cut the field of view, you have this possibility also in the software. And after, you have also the size of the region where you measure the average of the signal. Here they use 5 pixels to measure the average value of the signal. So with the setting, we are totally compatible with most traditional methods to test non-uniformity, intrinsec non-uniformity on the spec camera. And this possibility works with NEMA, with EIC norm, and so on. So I want to redo the test. I can leave like that. So I want to redo the test. So for the intrinsec test, I repeat, we have spatial resolution, so the test without collimator, and non-uniformity test. So now they install the collimator, and we do the test, the same test, but with the collimator. And the collimator finally cut the field of view. So it's nice to see immediately the same test, non-uniformity, but here with the collimator, so system uniformity. And as you can see, it's possible to do with QualiMagic because you can define the field of view of your camera. So here they cut here you have the dimension. So if it's not like that, for example, I can write, it's another, you see, I can really manage how my field of view. Okay, so you can define what you need. So now it's the same test, exactly the same test, but with the collimator. And they test, I think, the 3 heads. Here you have the head 2, the head 1. No, they test only 2 heads for here, not the third one. I don't know why. Now I forgot one thing. Excuse me. I return with intrasec test without collimator. I forgot to explain this test. We measure the linearity of the camera to be sure that when you have a line in the image, in the object, is a line in the image. I forgot that. Excuse me. So we use this pattern, and here you have 2 lines. So we measure the center of the Gaussian profile in each small rectangles. And after we have a list of points, and we do a linear regression on this point. And with this method, you can evaluate if the camera without collimator respects the linearity of a source. Okay, and the last is to measure the spatial resolution, but now with collimator. So it's a system spatial resolution. You asked me about this pattern, and of course I have some answer. I asked a customer to give me the geometry of the serpentine source. And I have some picture I want to show you. But I want rapidly to explain what we do. We detect the source. You see, we are not obliged to test all lines. Here they decide to test only 2 lines in the serpentine. And after what we do, we measure the full width half maximum of the Gaussian profile of this source, this line source. And after you have all the result, excuse me, spatial resolution. Where is the spatial? Okay. First is a linearity. So we look if it's a line. And second one, we test the spatial resolution. Excuse me. The first one was the linearity of the camera with the collimator. So I want to return system here. This is the linearity, and this is the spatial resolution. We measure the full width half maximum and the full tenth maximum. So full width 10 maximum. So 50% in the profile and 10% in the profile. And they test in the 2 direction. You can test in the 2 direction. Here it's only 1 direction. No, you have the 2 direction, X and Y. So you can see, I think they turn when? Here they turn the serpentine and they redo the test to have the linearity and the spatial resolution in 2 different directions. I hope that it's clear. Excuse me, this morning I am not very nice for demo. Do you have question about this planar module?
The module is clear. Sorry, yeah. Just a question about the phantom features, means the diameter of the capillaries that we can use.
Okay.
It's important. Yeah.
I want to send to Mr. Bindoni and you this a document I have to translate and to explain a little bit. This is one pattern for one. It's a French customer, and they send. I asked 3 different customers, but I receive only an answer from one. But I think it's enough because it's very easy to understand. What is? It's a 2 plate in acrylic. One, they have a groove to install a guide for a catheter. Okay, it's a guide for catheter which they use in radiology or in cardiology to push something in a vessel. So the diameter of this guide is internal diameter. Excuse me, I write in an email 5 millimeter, and in fact is 1 millimeter. Okay, and so the internal diameter is 1 millimeter, and you need 3 meters if you want to do the same. And in between the line, they use 3 centimeters, but not in the picture. No, every 1.5 in the picture. Every 1.5 centimeters, they have a line. And after they close the 2 plates with some 4 screws, and it's working. So they do that by themselves. But I don't know if they want to do something, but it's possible to prepare that. We have some customer, they have only 1 plate, so they don't close. They make a groove with the catheter, and after they put only a tape on to fix the catheter in the groove. It's also one possibility. We have also some customers, they only use a plate, and with a pen they write the line, and after they stick directly on the acrylic plate. You have many possibilities. And what is important, you don't need a lot of line like here, because finally in the analysis, if you look, you can, it's enough to control only 2 lines. Of course, if you want to you can have 9 different lines if you want, but not more. So here, if you want to simplify a little bit the phantom, and it's what I want to send to you, this is one example, but you can really simplify, because here they have 15 lines. You need maybe 5, it's enough. Okay? So I want to prepare this document and to send to you, Mr. Bindoni, and also Mr. Beretta. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So it's not so complicated to do if you imagine that you need only 5 lines. Okay? This one is maybe too much and too complicated to do. And this is why I ask also some other customers, because I know that they simplify that, but for the moment I have no answer, but I can explain that in a document. Okay?
Perfect, thank you.
So now I want to show you the body mode, because the body mode is not so far to the planar mode, because finally the body mode is an extension of the planar mode. So you use your camera finally in planar mode, but with a special planar mode, because you make the whole body acquisition with the movement of your camera or of the bed, of the couch where the patient is. So you can find again a test with a serpentine source, and you can find some tests with uniformity. So the tests are not so different, but you have some other tests specific to the whole body mode, is to be sure when you move the camera or when you move the couch, to be sure that the movement respects the geometry. So you have one special test, is this one, and I want to show you this one after. So first, and you have no test without collimator. It's test with collimator, so system. So first, the spatial resolution with is strictly the same. You have the serpentine phantom, of course, is small, not small in the object, but small in the image because it's a whole body acquisition. And what we do first, we measure if your line is really a line. So it's what we test. We want to be sure that a line is really a line. So it's really the same method than before in the planar mode. After you can evaluate the, I want to zoom a little bit, the spatial resolution. Here you can see for the spatial resolution, they use two lines. We do the profile and we measure the width of the profile at 50% and at 10%. So nothing different than before. It's strictly the same. And they test two orientation, one orientation and the second one. So nothing is different for this test. After the uniformity is the same. It's only the size of your field of view, only that change. And here, if you see, they test only one head. And here for the uniformity, one head, and here they test two heads in the two directions. So this is very easy. After the planar mode, to see the body mode is strictly the same method. For the uniformity of the system, it's only the size of the field of view is really bigger than before. So now a specific test for the whole body mode is to measure if when you move the camera or when you move the couch, to be sure that the speed is uniform. So for that, we have a measurement of the signal in the purple region. If the signal increase or the signal decrease, is because the speed is not constant. So it's what we do. We measure the intensity of the signal to control that the speed during finally, indirectly, if the signal increase or decrease, it's because of the speed. And we measure finally the standard deviation of the signal, and this standard deviation is in correlation with the speed. So it's a traditional method. We never create a new method. It's a traditional method of the NEMA. And the last,
sorry.
Yes, do you have a question?
Yes, probably a stupid question, but how do you create the uniform image on the whole body acquisition? So how do you position the source?
Okay, so it's a uniform source. You install this source on
like
the bed, and I think they move on the couch, and they move the couch in this case.
Yes, but because I see that the uniformity here, the radioactive source is for the whole length of the bed, but the uniform source is normally a rectangle that is just covering the field of view of the head. So
you need to move it during the acquisition.
Manually?
Yes.
Yes, manually.
Yeah. Okay. So, but in this case, if you find a problem on the speed because you see different counts, this is due to the manual movement probably of the source. It is not a problem of the speed of the bed, so it is difficult to.
I am not expert in whole body mode and acquisition. I know that you have two possibilities to move the camera or to move the couch. But here the problem, if you want to move only the camera, you need a very big source. So I think it's a combination between movement of the couch and movement of the camera. But I can ask our customer if you want.
If you move during the acquisition the source that is small, but you move it many times for a step less than the FOV, all right, you have always in the FOV the same count rate.
Yes.
Because the source that is viewed by the FOV is always the same. Since you move it less than the length of the field of view.
Okay, clear.
Thank you. Always it's a little bit, just to have a little bit of practice. Do it a couple of times, and you.
Okay.
And Dr. Bindoni, you know this test? You already do this test?
Yes.
Okay.
Normally, this is a very long acquisition.
Yes.
You test a couple of how can I say, some kind of bed.
Yes, and
you can do it. This is all the length, but when you tried it all just for, 1 meter, it's enough.
Yes, and this is
control is the movement and the homogeneity, the uniformity on a bigger FOV of the cam, in respect of the planar mode.
Yes, and it's very important what you explained, Mr. Bindoni. It's a very long acquisition. Most of the time in nuclear medicine, the acquisition are really long for quality control. And this is why also we are not expert for acquisition, and excuse us for that. Because in radiology and in radiation therapy, we are really expert also with the acquisition, and we can really help the customer for the acquisition. But with nuclear medicine, for us, it's very difficult to be an expert because we are it's impossible for us to be with the customer during the acquisition.
Okay,
so yes, but traditionally we help also the customer to explain how they have to do the acquisition in radiology and in radiation therapy, but unfortunately not in nuclear medicine, because it's impossible for us to be with the customer during this time. Okay?
Okay.
And the last test is to evaluate also when you move the camera or the couch, we want to be sure that you respect the geometry of the object. So here, again, it's a serpentine, but they move, it's a line source, 3-line source, excuse me, not a serpentine, but they move the couch, and they want to be sure that during the movement, you respect the geometry of the line, to be sure that the mechanical axis and the electrical axis, electrical is software axis, respects the geometry. So what we do, we detect this line, and of course we do a linear regression, and after we evaluate if the line is a line. So it's a very traditional test, nothing special. It's really in compliance with NEMA requirement. And you see, we measure also the orientation of the line. Here you have the orientation between the line and the camera. So do you have some question about this whole body mode? No?
It's okay for me.
Fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
So now the last, and it's very fast compared to Planar, for example. So now we are in tomographic mode. So in tomographic mode, they use a JASAC phantom first, and they do a complete acquisition of the JASAC. So you don't have to select which images you want to evaluate. The software knows, and the software proposes to analyze these 5 slices and to remove the rest. So the red one, the software proposed to remove. So when you have we do strictly the same in for the CT scanner module. The software know what he has to analyze and propose to remove the rest. So for that you have to sort, and now we can go in step by step. So I want to start with JASAC phantom. So we analyze 3 different slices in this phantom. That is to evaluate the contrast, here to evaluate the homogeneity of the signal, and here to evaluate the spatial resolution. So we can start with the contrast. So what we do, we detect the edge of the circular phantom. It's a cylindrical phantom. So in the slice, it's a circle. And after we have a target which turn, and we detect the signal in this big target to know the orientation of the phantom. So before to evaluate, we want to detect where is the phantom in the image to be sure that when we extract some signal, we are on the target. And after, inside each target, we have 6 in the JASAC phantom. We evaluate the contrast. The contrast is a comparison between the signal inside the target and the signal outside of the target. And after you can define in the software the percentage, visible percentage, what is possible for you to see. And after the system count the number of target which have a signal more than this percentage, the reference percentage. So we can count the number of visible target. And because we detect the edge of the phantom, we can do rapidly a geometrical distortion test. We compare the real size of the phantom with the size in the image. Do you have a question about this first test in the JASAC phantom?
No, it's clear.
Mr. Beretta? No? It's okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Second test, homogeneity. So here it's a little bit stupid. I want to change. It's a circular phantom. So the best is to have some region of interest, not square, but circular region. So as you know, you can pilot everything. So if I redo the test, now it's a circle. And if I want one measurement every 5 millimeter, I think it's better. So now I change completely the mask to extract the signal. And after, it's a traditional method to evaluate the homogeneity, excuse me. It's a comparison between the minimum and the maximum signal between the different targets in the screen. And we measure the noise. The noise is in a special target. Here you can define the diameter. If you want 50 millimeter or 80 millimeter, you define the region where you want to measure the noise. And inside we measure the standard deviation. So the standard deviation corresponds to the noise. And we measure the average signal inside the target that corresponds to the signal. And after you can measure the ratio between noise and signal. And because we detect the phantom, again, we know the diameter of the phantom, and when we can compare with the diameter in the image. So it's very traditional. We have this test in a lot of for a lot of devices, CT scanner, portal imager with on the LINAC, and so on. So nothing very difficult. Maybe I have to save that because it's better to test like that. Do you have a question, Baptiste? No?
They have to the CAT-FAN test of the CT.
Yes, we have the same, exactly. And you have also the same with a manufacturer phantom. It's a very traditional method. You can also, it's very, finally, the quality of an imager is all the time the spatial resolution, the contrast, and the homogeneity.
Yes.
You have this test on all imager, also a camera, also a television. And another test is geometric distortion. So when you evaluate on an imager geometric distortion, homogeneity, spatial resolution, and contrast, this is the most important parameters. And for all modalities, you have to evaluate that. After you have some special tests dedicated to these modalities, but at least you need to evaluate the contrast, the spatial resolution, the geometrical distortion, and the homogeneity of the signal and the noise, homogeneity and noise. You agree?
Yes. Yes, I agree.
Okay. So the last in the JASAC Phantom is to evaluate the spatial resolution. So here, of course, the problem is we don't have a lot of frequencies in the pattern, but it's not like before with only 4 frequency. Here we have 6, so we can measure the standard deviation of the signal in the 6 region of interest. And after with Droge and Morin method, we can evaluate the MTF of the system, and after measure the frequency for 50% of the MTF and 10% of the MTF. And because we detect the edge of the phantom, again, we can do a distortion test also with a spatial resolution test. It's okay?
Yes, yes.
Normally here it's a visual method. Finally you declare I can see maybe this target is, but after not really. But you can quantify with the Droge and Morin method. So the rest is to evaluate also the spatial resolution with some line sources. So here what we do, they use, we have a discussion, Dr. Bindoni, with PET. We want to do something for you because you don't use 3 sources oriented like that. You have the 3 sources aligned.
Yes.
So we want to do something for you, I promise, but we need some time to do because to produce a version is not, it's impossible to do in 1 week. So I propose to, I think, to give you a solution in June for your PET.
As I told you, I can, there is no problem for the timing because I can evaluate the 2 directions,
Yes.
the 2 sources separately.
Yes.
Tricking the coordinate of the second source.
Yes, but we want to find a better solution. Huh? We want to
need to switch it.
Yes, and it's already in the tube. Okay.
Okay, I will repeat it. I probably after 6 or 7 months or so.
Okay.
No problem.
So
okay, for this, in this case, I will use your because I use the aligned geometry because it's the new way that is indicated in the NEMA of the PET.
yes, and we want to follow the NEMA, so we have no doubts that we have to do something, and not only for you, but you are the first to ask to do something. So this is a reason why we don't have actually in the PET module. But of course, we want to have, okay? We need only some time to do. So here you have so 3 sources, and we measure the Gaussian profile in the 2 direction. And after we measure, of course, the width of this profile at 50% and at 10%. So you have many parameters because we evaluate the profile for the central source, for the radial source also in the 2 direction. But all the time is a full width half maximum. Okay, excuse me, I speak about 10%, but not, we don't have here, we measure only at 50%. Okay, for that?
Okay.
And the last, in the tomographic module, is to evaluate the rotation center. For rotation center, of course, we don't use tomographic images. We use planar images. So what you do for the acquisition, you have a source. Here it's 3 points. You can use only 1. You can use 5. Here they decide to have 3, and you align these sources. And voluntarily you shift this source 10 centimeters from the isocenter of your camera. You move, you shift 10 centimeters from the rotation axis. So when you do that, of course, between the different images, so we detect the sources, and of course, because the sources are not in the center, finally, when you turn around, the sources describe a sinus. So here you have the sinus, which represents the position of the source. If the rotation is really nice, the curve is really a sinus. If you have a flex with your camera, so when you turn, finally, the rotation axis move a little bit, the sinus has the feet of the point is not really aligned on the point. And you can see that on the top. You can see that more here. That the distance between the point describes the quality of the axis. If the rotation of the camera turn around an axis or turn around a tube. So we evaluate that, of course. So the quality of the rotation. So we evaluate that in the 2 directions, the head and feet direction. So head and feet, we control the movement of the source in head and feet direction. I don't remember exactly how we do that, excuse me. And in the transversal direction, is this graph. But for the longitudinal direction, I don't remember how we do that, excuse me. Maybe you have an idea, Mr. Bindoni, about the axial.
I'm sorry, didn't understand the question.
We evaluate the quality of the rotation in the transversal orientation. So transversal is orthogonally to the rotation axis. So it's very easy. Yes, it's no. Now I know. Excuse me. I can explain more. This is not. I want to see something because. Okay, this is not tomographic mode. It's a planar mode.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So you have the 2 orientation. You have right and left is the transversal
Right and
orientation,
yes.
and up and down, it's a
Okay.
axial orientation. So axial orientation,
Okay.
axial test, evaluate the movement of the source in head and feet direction. And this is these parameters.
Okay.
So the source move
Okay.
2 millimeters in the head and feet direction. And for the transversal test, we evaluate the sinus, the quality of the feet. Normally,
Okay.
if your rotation is perfect, all your points are on the feet. And that describes the quality of the rotation in the transversal orientation.
Yes.
Okay. Now I remember. So you have all explanation. The test in transversal direction and the test in axial direction. So for me, it's finished. So I can answer to your question if you have question. More question.
You have been very clear. At the moment, I have no question. The
Okay.
only thing I must talk with Dr. Beretta about this serpentine found.
Yes, but I
We
can.
have all the materials. We have slab. We have tube. We don't have any more the workshop in the hospital to make some.
Yes, but
small.
I want to repeat. Most of the time, our customers, they use a plate in acrylic, or you can use a piece of plastic flat, and they
Yes, we
stick
have it.
with tape the catheter directly on the plate, and nothing
Okay,
more.
yes.
So and this one is really complicated, and
Okay.
this is why I don't want to send to you directly the two images, because you can really simplify. You don't need 15
Yes.
lines. 5, it's enough. So I want,
I understand. Five, 6 is
yes,
enough. It's
I
enough.
want to send to you a small document, and to
Yes.
Dr. Beretta also, a small document which explains how you can have this pattern easily. More
It will
easily
be.
than this image. This image is maybe too much, but they in this hospital they use that. But this is why I want to wait some other answers, but I never received. So,
Okay.
but me, I want to send a document. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
It will be very useful. I thank you very much. Now I must leave because I have another meeting.
Yes, yes.
In
And
another
it's
place.
11.
Sorry, but
Okay.
it was a pleasure, and it was everything very clear and.
Okay. So now, Mr. Bindoni, if you have any question, technical question, and you don't
Yes.
receive an answer from Marian or Sophie from our support, you can ask me directly. Don't hesitate.
Right.
I am medical physicist,
Thank you very much.
so I can understand your question. I hope. Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye bye.